Good morning. If you'll please find your seat, we'll get started. So many familiar faces and so many faces I don't know, and I hope I get to meet more of you today. I'm Jen Dyer, the Director of Community and Corporate Impact for CHOICE Humanitarian. Welcome to the 14th Annual Breakfast of Humanitarians. The CHOICE Global team has looked forward to this day with much anticipation. Thank you for joining us this morning. I am truly humbled by your presence. We each have a story. I believe we all want to make a difference. We want to help change the course of someone else's story, maybe your own story too. Will you think with me for a moment of a special 80-something-year-old woman? Maybe it's a grandmother, friend, neighbor, or someone that you don't know but that you look up to. I'd like to introduce you to Aidi Mayasarki from Nepal. Notice her feet, her hands, and her face. Imagine the lifetime of stories that she could tell. At age 81, Aidi received potable water in her front yard. For over 6 decades, she woke up at 5 a.m. every morning and walked an hour each way to retrieve water for her family. Her life has been transformed by the installation of a water spigot from CHOICE Humanitarian, Latter-day Saint Charities, and the Sun Zandibar municipality in Nepal. Not only that, but she now can grow fruits and vegetables that she can sell at the market and provide income for her family. Aidi is on a path out of poverty. She is quoted as saying, "When finally the water came to my yard, it was one of the greatest blessings." After 81 years, her gratitude is remarkable. Across 3 communities, 336 families now have access to clean water and clean, affordable water. The quality of life of the people in the communities has improved significantly. Children are healthier, and they can attend school more regularly. Women no longer have to spend hours each week hauling water. Some families have started community gardens. This is just one of 122 projects that took place in 2021 alone. At the core of CHOICE Humanitarian's work is the belief that everyone should have the option and the means to live in peace, prosperity, and freedom. To achieve this vision, CHOICE focuses on the establishment and improvement of systems that generate options and opportunities for rural communities living in devastating poverty. I believe human beings are all connected, that we each matter, and that what you do simply proves what you believe. All of us in this room have been given many options and opportunities that Aidi has not. Over 2 million individuals have been supported through CHOICE in 8 countries over the history of CHOICE. That's pretty remarkable, 2 million individuals over the almost 4 decades that CHOICE has been in existence. They've been able to change the course of their story. So what's your story? Our global team hopes you'll consider finding a piece of it with CHOICE. Our dedicated sponsors helped make this morning possible, and they have contributed in varied ways, changing the course of stories in a village, for a family, or an individual in incredibly impactful ways. I'd like to take a moment to recognize and thank them. doTERRA Healing Hands, Thrive Life, Grandeur Peak Advisors, VCBO Architecture, and Perry Homes. Let's give them a warm thanks. They are leading the way in building Utah's global humanitarian community. They all have a few things in common. They have changed lives in rural communities around the world through supporting programs in education, technology, agriculture, economic development, health, and more. Now let's take the next few minutes to enjoy the company at our tables as breakfast is served. Shortly after, we will have the pleasure to hear from CHOICE's CEO, Steve Pierce, who has worked in international development in Washington, D.C. and around the world for the last 36 years. He has a pretty remarkable story himself. Following Steve, we'll have the pleasure to hear from our exceptional country directors visiting from country. I'm sure that's why some of you are here today. Olger Pope from Guatemala, Juan Alducin from Mexico, and Maxi Mendoza from Bolivia. We also have Marilyn Reed, our director from Navajo Nation, with us in the room today. In about 10 minutes, we'll get this journey started. Please enjoy your breakfast.
Every day when we wake up, we have choices. But not all of us have the same choices. What to eat? Will I eat? What to wear to school? Can I go to school? How much water? Where is water? For billions of people living in devastating poverty, options are limited. But together, we can change that. For over 3 decades, CHOICE Humanitarian has been reducing poverty by expanding choice. When you give a community more choice, you open up possibilities for a better future. CHOICE Humanitarian works with and through rural communities to create sustainable change. Our approach is locally led, data-driven, and focused on impact. We are proud of what we've been able to do, but there is so much more that must be done. Will you make the choice to make a difference? Give today, change lives, change the world. The path out of poverty starts with choice. CHOICEHumanitarian.org.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Steve Pierce, CEO of CHOICE Humanitarian. And I'm sorry to interrupt your breakfast, but we are determined to keep on a schedule, which means that I'm going to accompany your eggs this morning. We really appreciate you being here. This is a great opportunity for us. We love getting the CHOICE family together. There are so many people in the audience that I'd love to recognize, but due to time, I'm only going to single out just a few. First of all, I see so many of our board members in the audience this morning, and we have a wonderfully supportive board, and I'd just like to recognize them right now and thank them for their support. We just spent 4 days together on Navajo Nation in a board retreat, and that time is extremely rare and extremely precious, and I want to thank all of them for taking 4 days to join us and to talk about the future of CHOICE. I'd also like to recognize the families that are hosting our international guests and for welcoming them into their homes. It means so much to them that you would share your homes with them. And finally, I'd like to recognize Kelly, who put all of this together. I know it, yes. She will tell you this is a team effort, but she is by far carrying the most water of anybody. And I'm truly amazed at how she manages to keep 1,000 things all moving forward at the same time. Kelly, thank you so much for a job well done. And as Jen mentioned, this is a special breakfast for us because we have 4 of our country directors in town. Three of them are on the program, and Marilyn Reed, our director for Navajo Nation, is in the audience. I hope you'll take time to chat with them while they're here. So I'm going to go a little off script this morning. I was supposed to highlight specific themes that our country directors will address in their presentations, but they're leaders in their own right, and they don't need any help from me. So I'm going to share a few thoughts that have been on my mind lately. A lot. I've been thinking a lot about freedom. Over the past 12 months, I've been privileged to visit all of our countries of operation, most of them twice. And perhaps this is one of the reasons why this topic is weighing on me this morning. We are so blessed to live in this country. We enjoy more freedom in the United States than the citizens of any other country, by far. For this, we should be grateful, but not in a proud or superior sort of way. Our freedoms are hard-won, paid for by the sacrifices of so many. Of course, the question is always, what will we do with our freedom? I imagine, like most of you, I'm distraught, heartbroken, and even angry at what is taking place in Ukraine. The injustice, the suffering, the evil inflicted on an innocent population. In essence, the attempt to deny and take away their human rights, their freedoms. I think there are at least two types of freedoms. Freedom from, freedom to. We almost always need to be free from in order to be free to. For example, we need to be free from fear, from terror, free from violence and oppression, free from injustice, free from hunger and illiteracy, free from drought and thirst, from disease, freedom from suffering, freedom from slavery. If we are truly free from these negative conditions, we can begin to be free to do so many other things. Free to achieve our potential, free to associate with whomever we choose, free to learn, free to work, to provide for our families, free to enjoy health, nutrition, free to travel, free to love, free to become who we are meant to be. Again, I ask, what will we do with our freedom? So many of my favorite quotes come from Nelson Mandela, a truly great humanitarian and a statesman that I was privileged to meet, to work with, and to learn from. Regarding freedom, he once said, "For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedoms of others." For the most part, CHOICE works among the most vulnerable, remote, and underserved populations in the countries we serve. The great majority of families and communities in these regions are not free from hunger and malnutrition. They're not free from disease and illness, from child or maternal mortality, or from oppression, or from so many other forms of suffering. And because they're not yet free from suffering, they're not free to reach their full potential. I think another word for freedom might be choice. In this country, we have so many choices, choices at every turn. What we will eat, not if we will eat. Where to study, not if we can study, and so on. So everything that CHOICE does can actually be boiled down to that one basic strategy. We work with our partners to increase the choices or the range of options available to these underserved and vulnerable families and communities. Once again, our mission. We envision a world in which people everywhere have the choice and the means to live in peace, prosperity, and freedom. This is our vision, this is our dream. To meet it, it requires that we understand the local system, the causes of the lack of freedoms from. In other words, context. And because our teams are from the areas in which they work, they speak the local language, they're able to empathize with the local people. They're able to understand what keeps them from freedom. So again, I ask, what will we do with our freedom? So you've exercised your freedom to be here this morning, and I know many of you are working hard to help others become more free. And that fact alone fills us with hope and strengthens our resolve and our belief in what is possible. In fact, the United States, in addition to being the most free country in the world, is also the most generous country in the world, by far. In an average year, Americans give more than $400 billion to philanthropic causes. And USAID, the U.S. Foreign Assistance Arm, and my former agency, provides more development funding than any other country, by far. Much of this aid goes to enhance individual and collective freedoms. Freedom from, freedom to. I am so very proud that my country and so many of my fellow citizens use their freedoms to advance the freedoms of others, to help provide them with choices. We who exercise so many freedoms too must help our brothers and sisters in other places achieve freedoms from, so that they too may enjoy their freedoms too. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Olger, Director of CHOICE Humanitarian Guatemala. I'm grateful to be here with you today. I have worked with CHOICE for 7 years in the remote region of Alta Verapaz in northeast Guatemala. Las personas en esta área sufren los efectos devastadores de la pobreza, como la desnutrición, la falta de educación y la mala calidad de vida. Fuera de CHOICE, tienen muy poco apoyo.
People in this area suffer from the devastating effects of poverty, such as malnutrition, lack of education, and poor quality of life, and outside of CHOICE, have very little support.
Estamos en comunidades que nadie ha visitado antes, poca presencia del gobierno, otras ONGs, nadie.
We are in communities that no one has visited before. Little government presence, no other NGOs, no one.
A medida que la población sigue creciendo, también lo hacen la presión sobre los recursos críticos.
As the population continues to grow, so does the pressure on critical resources.
Eso deja a muchas personas que viven en esta región atrapadas, con ideas claras de lo que necesitan y esperan, pero sin los recursos, las oportunidades ni la organización efectiva para lograr sus sueños.
That leaves many people living in this region trapped, with clear ideas of what they need or hope for, but without the resources, opportunities, or effective organization for them to achieve their dreams.
El desarrollo económico juega un papel importante para ayudar a las personas a atender sus necesidades.
Economic development plays an important role in helping people care for their needs.
Los principales problemas de pobreza y desigualdad que enfrentan las comunidades en la región de Alta Verapaz se reducen a la falta de opciones y generación de empleo e ingresos.
The main problems of poverty and inequality that communities face in the Alta Verapaz region boil down to a lack of options and employment and income generation.
Sin embargo, no son solo oportunidades, también es un cambio de mentalidad.
However, it's not just opportunities. It's a change in mentality as well.
En muchos sentidos, vivir en la pobreza se convierte simplemente en una forma de vida.
In many ways, living in poverty simply becomes a way of life.
Mientras CHOICE se esfuerza por lograr un impacto a largo plazo, estamos ayudando a brindar esperanza donde hay poca en este momento, para que puedan cambiar la forma en la que viven.
As CHOICE strives to achieve a long-term impact, we're helping to provide hope where there is very little right now, so they can change the way they live.
Una de las formas principales en que CHOICE puede marcar la diferencia es creando activamente espacios para nuevas oportunidades económicas.
One of the primary ways CHOICE can make a difference is to actively create space for new economic opportunities.
En el año 2020, el equipo CHOICE en Guatemala lanzó un programa integral de desarrollo social y económico llamado Guatemala Life, financiado en gran parte por Pat y Florence King.
In 2020, the CHOICE team in Guatemala launched a comprehensive social and economic development program called Guatemala Life, funded in large part by Pat and Florence King.
Este programa está diseñado para sacar de la pobreza multidimensional a aproximadamente 100,000 personas que viven en comunidades rurales en 2 municipios de Alta Verapaz.
This program is designed to lift approximately 100,000 people living in rural communities out of multidimensional poverty in 2 municipalities in Alta Verapaz.
Esta zona es una de las más pobres de toda Guatemala y prácticamente no hay actividad económica además de la agricultura de subsistencia.
This area is one of the poorest in all of Guatemala, and there is virtually no economic activity besides subsistence farming.
Para abordar algunos de estos desafíos, estamos fortaleciendo el sistema productivo agrícola mediante el establecimiento de huertos familiares altamente productivos.
To address some of these challenges, we are strengthening the agricultural ecosystem by establishing highly productive family gardens.
Esto ayuda a darles una ventaja inicial hacia la construcción, no solo de autosuficiencia, sino también a allanar el camino hacia el desarrollo de pequeñas empresas.
This helps give them a head start towards not building only self-reliance, but paving the way towards small business development.
Otra forma en que trabajamos para fortalecer la economía local es brindando asistencia técnica y ampliando los mercados para el cultivo de cardamomo. Es un cultivo comercial común en la región.
Another way we work to strengthen the local economy is by providing technical assistance and expanded markets for cardamom, a common cash crop in the region.
Al proporcionar a los agricultores una mejor educación sobre cómo cultivar cardamomo de manera más eficiente y productiva, pudiendo obtener precios más altos por sus cosechas.
By providing farmers with better education on how to cultivate cardamom more efficiently and productively, they can earn higher prices for their harvests.
CHOICE ve la necesidad de reactivar la economía primero a través de la pequeña escala, ayudando a los pequeños productores a tener más poder de mercado, mejorar la cadena de valor y encontrar nuevas formas de hacer circular el dinero.
CHOICE sees the need to reactivate the economy through small scale first, helping the small producers to have more market power, improve the value chain, and find new ways to circulate money.
A través de la cooperación y la sinergia podemos maximizar los efectos.
Through cooperation and synergy, we can maximize those effects.
Ya hemos visto fuertes indicios de impactos positivos y estamos ansiosos de seguir adelante.
We've already seen strong indications of positive impacts and are eager to continue forward.
Entonces, ¿por qué soy parte de CHOICE Humanitarian?
So, why am I part of CHOICE Humanitarian?
Me gusta llamarme vendedor de sueños.
I like to call myself a seller of dreams.
Me siento realizado ayudando a otros a realizar sus sueños y lograr sus metas.
I am fulfilled by helping others realize their dreams and accomplish their goals.
Me pagan con resultados y logros. Ellos hacen más por mí que yo por ellos.
They pay me with results, with achievements. They do more for me than I do for them.
Cada vez que puedo ayudar a alguien, me siento muy agradecido de poder servir a los demás.
Each time I can help someone, it makes me feel very grateful to serve others.
Todo el mundo quiere dejar huellas. Quiero dejar huellas, pero de dinosaurio, no de hormiga.
Everyone wants to leave footprints, but I want to leave dinosaur footprints, not ant footprints.
Hoy estás en el lugar correcto. ¿Qué vas a hacer con esto?
Today, you are in the right place. What are you going to do with that?
Realmente creo en lo que hacemos.
I truly believe in what we do.
CHOICE no son solo las 9 oficinas que tenemos en el mundo. Somos las personas, los voluntarios, los beneficiarios, cada uno de ustedes, todos los que creen en el trabajo que hacemos.
CHOICE is not just 9 offices around the world. It's all of the staff, the volunteers, beneficiaries, and each of you, everyone who believes in the work that we do.
We all must work together to make a bigger impact. The first step is the how, the desire, the help. The time is now. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Juan Alducin, and I am the director for CHOICE Humanitarian in Mexico. And I have worked for CHOICE over 20 years, and I am happy to be here today. The CHOICE Humanitarian team in Mexico works among very poor population in the heart of the country. This region is very arid and receives very little rain. The lack of the water is the biggest factor that influences development in this area, impacting the food production, job opportunities, and health. For years, my team and I have worked with communities to find creative solutions. The solution is for the challenges that with the water in order to improve the quality of the life for people in this region, including water system and cistern to collect and store water, and bathrooms that require no water. The poor health and malnutrition are direct results of the challenges to food production in this area. Because the physical geography, traditional farming methods are very difficult. And there is a little access to the good protein and fresh vegetables. The families are not able to get what they need to eat, and the children are the ones who suffer the most from malnutrition. Often, the food that is available is not healthy and not fresh, which make the problem even worse. Over the last several years, the CHOICE team in Mexico has collaborated with some creative members of the CHOICE community in the USA to design and implement innovative technology solutions, a self-contained aquaponics farm system. What started as a hobby of the Lance Bullen, who sit on the CHOICE board of the directors. This aquaponics system quickly found a practical application to the challenges that communities face in our part in Mexico. Aquaponics is a self-cleaning interconnected system that cycles water in order to raise tilapia fish and fresh produce like lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and peppers. Where the waste from the fish are helps to feed the plants, and the plants clean the water for the fish to use. The systems are extremely efficient, with their water use making them even more useful in this area. The aquaponics system has been very successful in helping not only meet the major food needs in this area, but also providing economic opportunities to sell excess produce at market. And almost all of the systems are running by women in the village. Yes. We have a simple example of one of that system to you here today, and I invite you to take a look in that corner is the aquaponics system. CHOICE Humanitarian is a learning organization, and over the years we have continued to learn and innovate in order to produce better results. For example, By seeding slightly large fishes, farmers are able to sell their fish sooner and move forward in an upward cycle more quickly. They can even sell lettuce as soon as 1 month after installing the system. It's so fast. Simple and appropriate technologies like this accelerate economy development and we have making to big difference in the fight against hunger and malnutrition. The question, why do I do this? A few years ago, when I finished my master's degree in development, the professor asked us, what is your mission in the life? We had studied for 2 years, and the majority didn't know how to answer that question. In that moment, I say, my mission in this life is to help people in order to help others. That's guided my work from the beginnings, as I have done my best to help others become better leaders and develop the knowledge, talents, skills to help another as well. I have so much satisfaction from the many people I have worked with over the years, using methods that are very efficient, economical, affordable, and broadly applied. We have been able to replicate major impact in the fight against poverty and build a strong community of problem solved. Each of you here is a part of this community, and invite you to find out what part you can play to make a difference around the world. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Maxi Mendoza. I'm Director of Programs for CHOICE Bolivia. My husband, Willie, is the Director for CHOICE Humanitarian in Bolivia. We have worked together for CHOICE for over 20 years. Willie is unable to join today due to some visa challenges. It is my pleasure to represent Willie and Team Bolivia here with you today. In Bolivia, CHOICE primarily worked in the Altiplano region with seats at over 13 feet above sea level. This is an extremely cold and dry environment with very strong sunlight for most of the year. As a region, the Altiplano lacks water and adequate soil and good roads, making life even more difficult for rural communities. We grow a variety of potatoes and other crops and small animals, but it is difficult and we have a little margin for error. Many children and youth in remote parts of Bolivia face tremendous challenges when it comes to access quality and transformative education. Many must walk long distances on poor roads just to attend elementary school, often in frigid air. High schools are few and far between, making it very difficult for the youth to continue their studies. But also, children frequently must work in the fields to or attend the animals, thus helping to take care of their families instead of focusing on school. To make things worse, schools typically do not have electricity and much less internet. During COVID-19, what would your children have done without Zoom or online education? Imagine a 6-year-old just starting the first grade in 2020. Now, 2 years later, she or he should be entering third grade, but may not even know how to read. In Bolivia, the schools were closed during 2 years, 2020 and 2021. Our CHOICE team in Bolivia is work hard to address these challenges. One innovative approach is what we call an ecological classroom. We replace the sun-facing wall of a classroom with a translucent, corrugated plastic cover to heat the building more quickly and thoroughly. We've always used this technology for greenhouses and for raising small animals. And we saw a unique opportunity to improve education outcomes by building a school this way. Now we are even able to grow fresh produce inside the greenhouse area. This makes a big difference in 2 ways. First, it provides a much better learning environment for the students, especially in place that has such cold weather and constant sunlight. Second, the schools are able to produce quality food for the children, who typically get little nutritious food to eat in the mornings. We partnered with passionate teachers who have been very successful in getting kids to school and keeping them there. Another way we have worked to enhance education is through a partnership with Mike Libecki and the Joy Fund. In 2020, the Bolivia team identified a tremendous need for educational technology support in the Amazonian region of Ixmiamas. Thanks to Mike and several other partners, a new school has been built and we will soon be delivering solar panels, internet, and custom laptops for 2 communities in the region. Inequality is increasing between those who have access to technology and those who do not. This cutting-edge project seeks to level the playing field by providing a better educational environment, increasing access to quality education materials, reducing drop rates, and increasing literacy rates. We believe that through technology we can bridge the digital divide and give them the same opportunities as other kids around the world. Why do I work for choice? Ask myself that question often. The answer is very simple. Choice carries the important message of hope. Hope in the transformative capacity of people. People change through honest and fair work. You are part of that hope, and the families are part of that hope. Choice facilities and integrate all the stakeholders, parents, governments, teachers, doctors, and business to achieve common goals. It feels good to support this kind of collaboration. Today, we call on each of you to keep shaping and building that hope, which transcends families, communities, and countries. Thank you so much for hearing me today. Thank you.
So I'm at CHOICE Humanitarian for our awesome country directors. I've learned so much from them. And they really are the best of the best in their countries. And we're so lucky and blessed to have them all at CHOICE. And they did a great job. Okay, get it together. I'm really excited about this next part. Corporate partners of CHOICE Humanitarian are integral in our mission to support the efforts of people around the world to reduce global poverty and build self-reliant, resilient communities. It is by engaging their organization in global-minded good that is tangible, meaningful, and impactful that our mission is accomplished. There are numerous ways a company can invest in opportunities that uplift and inspire, including corporate expeditions, payroll contributions, event sponsorship, in-kind expertise and products, and fair trade product sourcing. I am truly honored to present our Corporate Impact Award today. Six years ago, the ASEA Advancing Life Foundation embarked on their lasting legacy with CHOICE Humanitarian. Over the years, they have taken the Intakara Vocational Center from the initial concept to the construction phase to the opening of the school. It has become a hub for the surrounding communities in Ecuador. They have engaged in expeditions with their teams where they experienced rich cultural exchanges that have proven to be invaluable. Their latest commitment of support in Navajo Nation, helping to reduce decades of food insecurity with hoop houses, will help to break the cycles of poverty of which they are mission-driven. Their initiative to find the best organizations around the world doing the work with and through the local villages and partnering to support this work is incredibly admirable. It is with great gratitude that CHOICE Humanitarian presents the ASEA Advancing Life Foundation with the 2022 Corporate Impact Award.
Thank you to CHOICE Humanitarian for this recognition. The faces on the video makes me cry because they're my family. It's an honor to accept this award on behalf of the ASEA Advancing Life Foundation. Thank you to the board of ASEA for starting the foundation and the Vertis Norton family, the donors to the ASEA Advancing Life Foundation for making it possible for the foundation to do good in the world. In 2016, the ASEA Advancing Life Foundation went on our first expedition with CHOICE Humanitarian to Mexico. We built water cisterns, outdoor ovens, and chicken coops. This was ASEA's first experience as a company with a humanitarian expedition and with CHOICE Humanitarian. Many of us went on this trip without any prior experience on an expedition. We didn't really know what to expect, and most of us left with a profound impression on our soul, as a transformation had taken place in our perspective of life. It is transformational to live 5 days with villagers and laboring side by side with them, and it expands your spirit. I don't speak Spanish, but I learned that the language of love transcends the language barrier, and everyone understands the language of love. Our foundation has continued to partner with CHOICE Humanitarian through the years because we know that they provide sustainable solutions that lift communities out of poverty. We know that they have incredible teams, both here in the United States, but also in each country that they operate in. We value their partnership and the good that they are doing through the world as they implement systems and build important relationships with local governments to create impactful projects in the underdeveloped communities. 5 years ago, we began construction on the Inticara Vocational Center in Ecuador with the hopes of providing educational opportunities to families. The dedication and commitment of Raquel Tustone, the in-country director, and her incredible team has not only kept this project going through the pandemic, but the school began to teach and students came. With over 200 graduates to date, the Inticara Vocational Center has become a beacon of hope in the cloud forest of Ecuador. The success of this school depends on the relationships they have built with the people, the technical college that provides the certification, and the local governments and officials. We thank CHOICE Humanitarian for their excellent work to make this idea a reality that has exceeded our expectations. As a young child, I was fascinated by kaleidoscopes, by the intricacy of the patterns and how individual pieces come together to create such beautiful designs. With each turn, the pattern changes and evolves as the pieces tumble together. This is how I believe our lives are, like a kaleidoscope. The individuals we meet are the pieces that come together. The experiences that we live and memories that we have create beautiful, intricate patterns filled with light and shadow. I have come to learn that when you incorporate humanitarian experiences into your life, all of a sudden, your kaleidoscope patterns that you have never seen or experienced before are filled with color. Each villager adds a piece to the design. The service, the emotions, the cultural experiences that you have bring richness and depth to your life that you wouldn't have otherwise known. I thank CHOICE Humanitarian for providing us with the opportunity to see the world in a new way and feel a more comprehensive love towards humanity. I invite you to fill your kaleidoscope with color, and I thank CHOICE Humanitarian for this honor. Thank you.
Good morning to all of you, and thank you again for taking time to join us today. I want to thank Olger and Juan and Maxi for coming all this way, and Marilyn for coming all this way to join us. I hope you see how beautiful they are as people. It was exactly 10 years ago today that I attended this very breakfast as a newbie to CHOICE. I sat there just like you are right now with friends, neighbors, and total strangers. And I learned about how some really good people were doing really good things to end poverty all over the world. I was intrigued, and I wondered what was making the difference. How was CHOICE any different than any other do-gooder organization out there? I was curious about how much of what I might donate that morning would actually go to the people in need. And I contemplated, were I to become a part of CHOICE, would we really be able to move the needle? Well, 10 years later, with several expeditions and 8 years of board service under my belt, I can unequivocally say yes. Since that first meeting, I have dug in the ditch in Guatemala with my older son, Grant, as we built a community center side by side with the Quechua people. It was what the villagers, in collaboration with Choice, decided was best for them to be able to become self-reliant. For every dollar we brought to the project in materials, the locals matched us 5-to-1 in land, labor, and their savings. That expedition changed me as a person. Not only was it physically demanding, so just trust me when I say that Choice expeditions aren't very cush. It was also eye-opening to see how most of the world lives. Grant, who was 15 at the time, had never really seen poverty. I could tell it was changing him too. He was one of the hardest workers there, and when the evenings came, he was wrestling with the kids, drawing pictures for them, and keeping them smiling. These people who had so little in comparison to us were so much happier than we were. They loved their families and community and just truly wanted opportunities to better their way of life. By being there, we were expanding their choices. What Choice was doing was working. My next expedition involved a lot of cement. My younger son, Gavin, his cousin, Ben, and I worked alongside Juan and the people of Irapuato, Mexico. We built water cisterns and clay ovens for the families there. Normally, these women would spend half their days traveling to and from the local water source to retrieve clean water. And even when it did rain, there was no valid way of collecting it. So in partnering with Choice and determining what was needed most to improve their quality of life and give them some relief, this was what they chose. We fell in love with these people, their children, and even their animals. Well, maybe not the rooster that started crowing every morning at 4 a.m. I watched through my son's eyes what happens when you walk a mile in someone else's shoes. Their lives were hard, but our being there was moving the needle for them. It was giving them better choices. And no one will ever question either Gavin or Ben's work ethic. Those two gave it their all and then some. My husband, Jim, who many of you know as a global leader in the impact investing space, wasn't going to miss the next adventure. We joined Jim Mayfield, Bishnu Adhikari, and others in Nepal with the goal of figuring out how to create enterprises which would help people and communities move and stay out of poverty. Since we believe so strongly in the principles of free enterprise, Jim and I partnered with Choice to create the Nepal Self-Developing District Program. This was a 3.5-year endeavor to work with over 13,000 families in the Lamjung district. During that window, 1,118 entrepreneurial startups began. They were everything from goat keeping to vegetable farming to small businesses. 703 loans were made with a payback rate of 97.2%. The best part was that this program helped develop community leaders to build support and resiliency. Here again, what we were doing by being there was expanding their choices and giving hope and encouragement to become more independent and self-sustaining. You've heard about our project areas throughout the breakfast this morning. All these tools in this toolbox create this approach to working with people in whatever circumstances they find themselves. Poverty isn't something they chose, so through education and proven methods, we help them help themselves by giving them a hand up. We are moving the needle. We are transparent. And we envision a world where people everywhere have the choice and the means to live in peace, prosperity, freedom, and safety. So join us. Get in the ditch. Get your hands dirty. Problem solve with us. We need you and your work ethic, your brilliant ideas, and your passion for good. Book a corporate expedition with one of your family or one with just your 15-year-old. Join the village and contribute a little each month, knowing those funds will be leveraged 3 to 5 times and go to furthering our mission. Work with your company and develop a corporate partnership that could involve volunteering, donating services, payroll giving, or even buying a table at our annual gala. There are envelopes on each table that can be filled out. Help us start or further your journey with CHOICE. This is a remarkable organization that's dear to my heart and my family's heart. Being part of CHOICE has filled me with gratitude and made me and my family global stewards who are mindful of those in the world who want a better life. What will your story be with CHOICE? I now would like to close our time together. I encourage you to visit the exhibits, mingle, and network with others in this room, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.